And welcome to Fourth and Pain, the only pro wrestling show to be hosted by an NFL player and a weight loss champion. He's Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker.
Howdy.
I'm former wrestling announcer turned weight loss champion Chuck Carroll. And Adam, my God, I don't even feel like plugging Twitter this time. We have a very special guest on the line. We've awarded the championship belt many weeks. But there's one guy that we've just kind of, well, we haven't gotten around to giving the belt to it yet. And seeing as though he's your teammate, I'd like for you to do the honors.
Well, it's not that he hasn't played well. It's not that he hasn't earned it. I mean, my God, the guy's played extremely well this year, especially for a rookie. Mr. Robert Griffin III. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing glorious. Every day is just a beautiful day.
He's lying, man. He is going stir crazy.
I'm going nuts, but I can't say that on the radio. I have to sound happy. So I want to bang my head against the wall. I'm sick of these crutches, and I'm sick of this brace, if you want the honest truth.
Wow. Hashtag. So, Robert, let me ask you, man. I mean, you've seen us in the locker room giving out these Fourth and Pain championship belts. The WWE was kind enough to send the authentic deal down so we can give one out to the most deserving player each week. What have been your impressions so far? Have you been a little bit jealous that the belt hasn't made its way to your locker?
I'm not going to lie. I have been a little bit jealous. No, I'm just joking. Alfred, I've seen him get the belt a couple times. I think Pierre got it. And the one thing that I always tell those guys is as long as they're playing well, it makes my job a lot easier. So it's good to see them get the belt. But I'll definitely hoist the belt with a lot of pride this week.
Alfred Morris loves that belt.
I can't see that guy without him talking to me about it. I'm going to get that belt this week. Well, I'm rooting for you, buddy. So he loves that thing.
He wants to sleep with it under his pillow. And speaking of which, as long as we're talking about Alfred, here's a football question for you, Robert. When did you realize that the Redskins had something special in this guy? A 6th-round draft pick. Everybody was expecting Roy Halou probably to be the starter this year. Maybe Tim Hightower, even Evan Royster. But along comes Alfred Morris, and he really makes a statement. At what point did you realize what a special running back he was?
I realized he was a special person by our first meeting together. I had heard that he was a good guy, and we lifted together in the off season. So I knew that he was a great guy, and I was hoping that he would make the team. But I realized he was a special back during the preseason when he ran for 100 yards, and he was toting the rock, like a veteran. So that was very impressive to see. And then it was about just him getting his chance with the starters, and once he did that, the rest is history.
Yeah, you guys have both played very well. I mean, Alfred's been deserving. You've been deserving of this belt. We're about 10 games into the season now, and a lot of guys hit this so-called rookie wall and whatnot. Do you feel like you've hit this rookie wall? Do you feel like it's something you got to push through, or is it something you've even had to deal with? My rookie year, it was tough for me. It's just it's a long deal with the draft and everything going on, and then you got to play the season. So I'm just wondering how you're feeling at this point.
I feel good. It is a long year. You go straight from bowl games to combine prep. Then you're trying out for different teams, and then you're off into the NFL off-season program. So it's definitely been a long year, but the way I look at it, I can't afford to hit a rookie wall. So I make sure I stay motivated and I keep my mind, mentally tough and stay sharp so that I can go out there and perform.
We're speaking with Robert Griffin III on Fourth and Pain, and you talk about not hitting a rookie wall and trying to stay sharp and motivated. How satisfying was this win this past Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles? How much does that factor into your motivation to play to continue to move forward positively?
Win, loss, or draw, you always have to make sure you stay motivated. It's a lot easier to do that when you come off wins. So this win was just about getting us rolling towards our goals. And we know that we have to take that one game at a time. So that's what we're trying to do. And getting that win, this past weekend, this past Sunday, is definitely helping us.
Now, I know that you come from a military family. I do as well. Lots of Marines in my family. And I got to ask you, just as one guy that appreciates the service to another, what did it mean for you to run out on the field carrying that American flag?
It's truly something special. I said I was honored to carry that flag out there, knowing the background that I have as an individual and just knowing, the sacrifices those who serve have to make, not only for us, but to their own families and their loved ones. So to me, it was a great honor. And, I also carry that flag, in honor of my parents who both did serve.
There have been many special moments, I would say, this year. You running out with the flag has been special. There have been a lot of, highs and lows. This being your first year in the NFL, what would you consider to be your welcome to the NFL moment?
My welcome to the NFL moment was definitely after we finished up training camp and the preseason was over. And as guys, you just get to see their dreams taken away from them because they get cut, and some get picked up other places, some don't. And that's tough. In college, you have 100 guys, and you're going to have 100 guys no matter what, unless they do something criminally. So it's just tough to see guys go. But you got to be a professional about it. You can't mourn about it, but you can also care, and I'll make sure I keep caring.
Well, big game coming up this Thursday against the Dallas Cowboys. Robert, you grew up in Texas. You have to be familiar with this Redskins-Cowboys rivalry. What does it mean to you to be not only making your Redskins-Dallas Cowboys rivalry debut in front of your hometown fans, but on Thanksgiving Day in front of this national audience? Is there a little extra pressure there for you?
No, there's no extra pressure. It'll be fun, to get back into Texas and to get to play football there where everyone knows football is king. So, I look forward to getting that chance to go out there and play against the Cowboys. Our job and our focus is to get a win. It's not that it's Thanksgiving or that we're on a national stage. We just got to go out and make sure we win.
Now, we're a football show. We're also a wrestling show. So I know the answer to this, but the people listening do not. Did you get to see my marvelous, wonderfully awesome Bill Goldberg impersonation photos?
I did get to see that photo, and it was awesome.
What were your thoughts of that? Like, what was your initial reaction? Like this, what was your initial reaction? I want to hear this.
My initial reaction was, man, Carriker's looking really shiny right now. But,
hey, there's actually a good story that goes with that. I haven't been able to work out like I would typically like to. I'm in there working, but I don't look like I normally do. So Chuck's like, well, here's a little trick that the wrestlers do. They put on some baby oil, and it kind of makes the muscles pop. So I grab that bad boy, that whole bottle of baby oil, and I'm just pouring this stuff on, like literally just like I'm taking a shower in it. And it's like, he's like, I think you've used enough. I'm like, no, I don't think I have. I need to add some more. I don't look like I want to, so I used about 3/4 of that baby oil bottle. So there's a good reason why I was looking so shiny.
You could have done slip and slide without any water at that point.
Oh, I could have done it on the carpet right there in the locker room. No doubt. I'm not going to argue with that. Would you ever if you ever made a wager like this, would you ever be willing to take or do something of this magnitude or like the photo that I did?
You're a brave soul for doing something like that. I don't know if I would want to be put out there like that, be so embarrassed. But, if I made a wager, I'd definitely own up to it.
Good man.
Good man. Well, evidently I'm getting into it with Goldberg this coming week too. So
that's going to be interesting.
Up to it. Yeah. I don't know if I can do any sort of photos like you, dude, but I'll do my best.
I don't want to see you do any photos like me.
God knows. So, Robert, let me ask you, a win on Thursday against the Dallas Cowboys really puts the Washington Redskins back in the thick of the playoff hunt, but you need to get by that game on Thursday. A lot of people are already looking ahead to that game against the Giants on Monday night, another critical division opponent. But are you guys squarely focused right now on the Dallas Cowboys, not even thinking about that Monday night showdown?
We have to be. I think there's not a guy in the locker room that's focused on any game other than the Cowboys. We know we got a short week. The guys know they got to take care of their bodies so that they can perform at a high level. So I know I'm not. I'm certainly not looking ahead, and I don't think anybody is, because we just can't afford to do that.
Now, Robert, you were obviously a proud Baylor Bear. Did you get a chance to watch the game this past weekend?
Oh, he watched that game.
That drubbing of
He's
Kansas
been watching that film over and over.
Hey, I was watching that game, man, and all the coaches and the players are telling me that we'll see what the score is at the end of the game, and at the end of the game, the score was still in Baylor's favor by a big margin. So I got to rub that into a bunch of the players, but it definitely had me excited just to see them go out there and perform so well.
Speaking of college football, you won the Heisman last year. You're the most outstanding player in college football. I'm sure you've been watching college football this year. Who are some of your Heisman favorites, and do you have a guy that, you have a vote? So who are you kind of leaning towards as maybe the Heisman favorite in your mind? You don't have to tell us who you'd vote for. Just who are your favorites, like your top three maybe?
It's tough this year. With the amount of losses that there have been at the top, and some of the best players being on some of the teams that have 4 or 5 losses. But definitely right now, even though they lost, Colin Klein has to be in that picture. Manti Te'o from Notre Dame, and then after that, it's kind of up in the air. Kenyon Barner was playing really well earlier in the year, and as of late, he hasn't had the monster numbers like before. So, after those two, you really don't know who to go for.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'll be honest with you. I'm somewhat of a Notre Dame homer, and by somewhat, I mean completely.
Clearly, yes.
And I am pulling hard for Manti Te'o to kind of break that mold, come out, win the Heisman as a defensive player, as a linebacker. Would you feel comfortable actually voting for a linebacker on this trophy?
I've never felt like the Heisman was the best player on the nation's top team type of award. But he's an exceptional talent, and Notre Dame is number 1 right now. But I wouldn't feel uncomfortable doing it. It's just a matter of these last 2 weeks of college football are going to be big, I think, for all Heisman voters, just to see who emerges on top.
Now, I have one last question left. I don't know, maybe Chuck has more, but this is the most important question to me. And I sent you a tweet. It was before I got hurt, so it was like, light years ago. And then I sent you a tweet a couple years later, and I got to be honest, I'm a little disappointed and I'm a little hungry. Where is my Subway?
Hey, man, we had Subway here for everybody a couple weeks ago. We had a nice little lunch platter. Everybody got some free food, but for you personally, I'll make sure I hook you up and get you some Subway.
All right. I appreciate it. I didn't get the text. I didn't get the invite. I was left out of that little dinner.
It's all good. I got you, man. I got you.
There we go.
You don't look like you've missed any meals anyway. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
That just goes back to having the largest arms on the D-line, my friend.
All right, Robert Griffin III, we greatly appreciate your time, and congratulations for being this week's 4th and Paint champion.
Thanks, guys.